and I was moved to Marie Curie, and it really feels, the nurses felt like they're sort of angels at the gateway. You know, I really felt I was surrounded literally by angels, and was fascinated by them. Who are these people that can do this work? Because I don't know if any of you have been into a hospice or see what it's like. It's quite a place. It's quite a place, and so the bell ring. So what I found in that time of also with the Vipassana as well, there's an expression, let the Dharma do, you know, let nature do. And I kept thinking, you know, I have to just go with this, because in this is what's happening. And if I'm to try and stop it, maybe I'm trying to stop something that really needs to happen, and I might have to go at some other point in some other life and go through this in another way, you know. So I wanted to really just honour my experience, not to run from it. And from all the lead up before I went into hospital, you know, already my bones were very broken, my lungs were full and stuff. And, you know, I dealt with the pain of that by just not thinking of it as pain, you know. Also in Vipassana, it's just a vibration, you know. So I would go into it in that way and just let it be what it is. And I realised that when you try and get away from something, that's when you're really fucked. You know, if you're in a difficult situation, you try and get away from it, you're in trouble, you know. So the way to be with it was just to be with it. And then it actually transforms into something else. And I realised that something very beautiful was happening, you know, although it looked awful. Actually, within it, it wasn't. It was quite amazing what was happening. And I was going deeper and deeper into, you know, what maybe is the essence of what I feel is my being. And in that space, it's untouchable. There's no disease, there's no life and death. There's just this state of being, which at times in the hospital, full of tubes and lung drains and stuff, I felt pure joy. And I thought, this is actually it, because, you know, when you have a reason for joy, it's not really it, because it's because of that reason of sort of self-gratifying yourself with something. When there's no reason for it and you feel it, it's the most amazing thing. And so I was getting to that point of really just feeling that. And a constant having to let go. You have to let go of everything that your life has been. And, you know, because there's no future, because you can't really go past the next breath. You know, the moment gets right into the present, because, you know, even tomorrow is a bit, thinks like, well, that's quite far away tomorrow. You know, there's now, and, you know, you can't really. So I got really used to just being in the present moment, and the closer and the more you get into the present moment, there's no fear, because fear is always when you're somewhere else from, you know, that you become, when you're actually in the moment, because you're in it, you know exactly what's happening there, because that's where you are. So there's nothing to be scared of, you know. So the fear sort of dissolves. And you know, I put into practice all the things that I've grew up with yoga, always interested in meditation, and so I was able to sort of practice all these things by, you know, my body dissolving inside me and my lungs unable to breathe. I would practice just allowing myself to breathe through my skin or through the soles of my feet, you know, and think, well, where do I embody? And Peter would always say, stay low, babe, stay low, you know, like the soul or the spirit is below the belly button, and, you know, stay there. So I'd imagine myself there and just allowing my body to breathe through my skin and my feet, because the lungs really didn't work, and there was no breath there. And I'd prop my bed right up, and sometimes, well, a lot of the time, you know, just stay awake also, because dying, it feels a bit like going to sleep. It's like going to sleep, but it's different. You can feel it's not sleep, it's actually you're dying, and the breath is just going away. And it's not going to come back, it's just going like that, and that feels like sleep, but it's death. But it's death is not death, it's just, you know, transition. But I would keep myself awake so that I could keep the breath moving through me, so that that last one didn't just go away, but I could sort of consciously stay conscious. I thought, if I'm still here, how can I die? Because I'm still here. I'm still here, so I can't, because I'm here, you know. So I'd stay with that. And gradually, as the body got a bit stronger, and, you know, when they sent me home, I certainly didn't walk out of Marie Curie. I was carried out of that bed and taken to my bed at home. I was still very much bedbound. And I still had drains in my lungs. The nurses came and drained my lungs at home. But I was home, you know, and that was a big thing, to be back home. And also a beautiful, you know, the caretaker had collected flowers from the communal garden, and all the neighbours had... I've just been given so much by so many people, so much care, so much support, so much kind of nurture and nourish from everyone around me. You know, my friends, my family, my new friend, that people I never met before. That I just kept thinking, what can I do to say thank you for all of this? You know, and my first thought would be, well, stay alive. You know, say thank you with your life. Say thank you by being alive. You know, that's the first thing. It's just to try and stay alive, to just say thank you. But just to go back a bit to maybe some other things, is just this thing about health, you know, that I really got into, what is health. And I realised that health, you know, this quest for health, you know, we're very kind of picky about the experiences we think we should have, and what's a good one and what's a bad one, and what's, you know, even what's health or what's sickness. You know, and I feel like this journey hasn't been one of being unwell, it's been a journey of actually getting well, in the sense of getting to the core of my being. If health means wholeness, to be whole, which is what we always are, and it has nothing to do with actually living or dying. That's not even got anything to do with it. It's to do with getting to the core of your being. And well, that's what I felt, you know, and so it wasn't even a quest, you know, whether, you know, it wasn't getting well, wasn't to stay alive, it was just to really understand that place in myself, and to know it's okay to be there, and to let what's happening happen, and not to try and, you know, although I've done lots of things, and I continue to do what I can to support myself and to celebrate being alive.